at myself, so that's why I look like I'm looking over to the side. Because I am in no way ready to do a video today. I just got back from cardiac rehab and working out and everything, and sorry about the road noise, sorry about everything, but I just wanted to answer back your question. And you may never see this, I don't know if you will, but if you do, or if any of your followers do, I usually just have way too much to say to only put it in comments, so I'm sorry if this comes off as trying to get people to look at my videos. I always struggle with, I always have so many comments, and I always want to speak to so many things, and I struggle with if I should put the names and the titles and really refer to the names of the shows and the platforms that I want to discuss, because I know it's going to be seen as clout chasing, trying to get views. At this particular day in my show, in this particular day, point in time, I don't have a lot of viewers, which is fine, because I don't mind the authenticity of whoever really wants to see what I have to say coming over to to subscribe and see what I have to say. I don't mind that time that it would take to grow that, because in the meantime I'm also growing, so that's fine. So you pretty much can't do anything without it looking like something to somebody, so I guess I shouldn't really worry about how it looks. Just say what I have to say. So I wanted to speak to what your question was today. Why do people seem to have a problem with you framing your show for who you're framing your show for? You were saying I am plus size. You are, in the higher numbers of being a plus size woman, and you are black, you're African American, whichever way that people want to call themselves. And you are on the darker skin complexion, and then I don't even think that part is the part that matters that much to you. But you said, why does it have to be a problem that I make my content for who I am? Why is it a problem that I represent who I am? And I just wanted to speak to that and say, there is no problem. There is no problem with that. Whatever you do, you come from your own perspective. And I say this a lot because I find myself talking a lot about your own personal perspective, because it's so true. This is where everybody is coming from, their own perspective. And it's really the only thing that you know is who you are and how you've lived and what you've seen. So this becomes the lens from which you view life. This is, and it does tend to be more effective when you speak to people that have come from a similar lens, that have the similar perspective, that have a similar struggle. I'll give you a quick example. One time I was telling an aunt of mine, that I would like to, like I do some ministry sometimes. I write and do Christian gospel, however you want to look at it, rap. I don't sing. I wish I had a singing voice, but I don't. So I was saying at some point though, I would like to get like deeper into ministry. I would like to talk to women and girls who have maybe like been on drugs or who are homeless, just people in, poor conditions. I would like to be able to get in there and really start to do ministry work with them, and not just only let it stop at the songs that I do. Because, sorry, I'm at a highway intersection, kind of dangerous. So not only just do the songs, because I don't really do much of the songs, especially at this point, this kind of stage in my life. But I would eventually like, I was telling her I would eventually like to get into that, speaking, talking to women and girls and that sort of thing. And she laughed at me. And she was like, what do you know about, what are you going to have to tell them about being homeless or being on drugs? What makes you think you can help them? And one part of it is I have a very I have a very crude or brash family. They don't tend to think about what they're saying. They just kind of blurt out whatever it is that they're thinking, and then whatever it is that they're thinking, usually with respect to me anyway, it hasn't always been like the nicest, most loving thoughts, especially in response to something that I may have asked of them or something that I may have said. So so she just kind of like laughs and kind of blurts out, who do you think you are that, you have something to offer them? Like, what makes you think that they're going to listen to you? And so I was like, okay, I mean, I know you're my aunt, but you don't know everything that I've been through. She does know I've never been on drugs. I've never been a drug addict. But my perspective, though, is very broad, I feel, because though I haven't been on drugs, I did grow up in the 70s and 80s. There was a point in time when my mother got on drugs. Even when my mother wasn't on a heavy drug, she drank. Nobody ever called her an alcoholic. I never heard of her going to a meeting or anything. But my mother was an alcoholic, as I was growing up. And then later in my kind of like adolescent stage, she got on crack. Somebody introduced her to crack. I grew up in a household where people would have their marijuana and just, have it in little receptacles, have all of their little paraphernalia. It was like it was something regular, like, like it was just nothing, just, sitting around in its little bowls and its little receptacles. People would roll up cigarettes right in front of you. They partied a lot. People drank. I was the child of an alcoholic and a drug abuser. So for her to laugh at me like that, I just was like, I mean, that I don't get down like that, but you don't know my perspective. You don't know the lens that I am looking at things from. You don't know what I've had to overcome within myself just to be who I am, because I was raised by y'all pretty much, so, like, who are you to laugh at me and tell me that I can't do a work and I can't help and that I don't understand where these people are coming from, that I say that I want to help. So, again, back to the main point, like, you're getting ridiculed because your, very unique perspective that you're coming from, and you're telling people, hey, this is who I am. This is the perspective that I'm coming from. So why wouldn't I be talking to other people who have this, so that I can minister it to them, so that I can encourage them, so that I can show them, that there's hope, that they can live how they want to live, that they can do whatever it is that they want to do, because I'm doing what I want to do. I'm living why wouldn't I encourage people that look like me, that have the same basic perspective, that have the same, that have some likenesses that like I do? Why would I not be talking to people that have the same type of struggle that I have? Why would I? How could I not? How could I not? Okay? So that's where you are. Okay. On the other hand, my own aunt basically laughed at me because I'm told her that I'm going to try to encourage people that she perceived. For me, I see it differently. But let's just say that I am not like the people that I've said that I wanted to try to influence and help. She laughed at me and told me that I wasn't going to be able to make any sort of an impact. I mean, she didn't say it in these words, but this is what she's saying. I'm just, summing it up the way that I hear and understand things. So she's telling me they're not going to listen to you. What makes you think that you have anything to say to somebody like that or offer somebody like that? Because you don't have anything in common with them. You don't understand their struggle. You don't understand their struggle. You have nothing in common with them. So they're not going to hear you. They're not going to listen to you. This is just utterly ridiculous that you would think that you have a word for them or something to speak to people like this when you have nothing in common with them. So to sum it all up, you're sitting here saying, hey, this is who I am. Come, hear ye, come one, come all the people that are like me, all the people that are, misrepresented, unrepresented. Nobody talks to you. Nobody speaks to you. Nobody is out here with, products for you and, I don't know, like you said, movies for you, advertising for you. Nobody is, the whole world is just, you would think, just, ignoring you. So here, let me make some content for you. Let me make some content for me, the me's of the world, people like me, people that are morbidly obese, some might say, people that are black women, people that are richly, I like to call it rich skin, people that are richly pigmented black women, the type of struggles that I face, and people like me, this type of struggles that we face. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let's encourage each other. Let me love on you. Come on over here. Let me show you what I'm doing to bring myself peace and happiness in my journey of life. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm not waiting to live. I'm living now. I'm being happy now. I'm having joy now. I'm having, I'm having peace. I'm taking my life back right now. And if I happen to lose weight along the way, like I wish to do, like I'm trying to do, like I'm doing everything that I know how to do, but in the meantime, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to get out. I'm going to enjoy the weather. I'm going to enjoy the summer, spring, winter, fall. I'm going to enjoy events. I'm going to go places. I'm going to enjoy good food. Am I going to, binge out and cause myself more weight. I'm going to try not to, but in the meantime of while 24 hours keeps on passing and the clock keeps on going around, I am going to appreciate and enjoy my life. And what I want to do is I want to represent and I want to encourage others along their way as well, because I know how we feel. I know how we feel like people think that we ought to just sit down and shut up and work out until we look presentable enough to come out of the house. I know how we feel. So I'm going to represent us, and I'm going to help people to love their life and take advantage of their life, right? Okay. We're with you. 100%. 100%. Except for the people that just want to be disagreeable. And that is what I think about it. Because that's what you do, right? You talk about what you know about, right? According to my aunt. Because if we look at it according to what my aunt said, okay, she laughed at me when she thought I was going to talk to people that I have nothing in common with. You know, you're going to get out here and try to, you know, influence the super thin, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Caucasian ladies of the world. If you said that, you would be, probably nobody would even look at your video, number one. You know, you'd be a laughing stock if you did get recognized, number two, because they would say, what? You don't have anything in common with this people group. You know, yeah, maybe, you know, you have your friends, you have your people that you know that you met along the way, and you meet them and you guys click or whatever, but you don't have enough in common to, you know, try to make this your what do they call it, your demographic that you're targeting. I mean, really? You know, and so that's what I mean. You can't live trying to make people understand and please people. And believe me, I'm not saying don't speak to the lunatics. You know, don't speak to the lunacy of, you know, when people, you speak to whatever you want to speak to, because that's the whole point. YouTube, your platforms, even if it wasn't YouTube, your Instagram, Facebook, your Facebook, whatever platform you on, you speak to yourself and you speak to whosoever will listen to and consume whatever it is that you have to say. But my example was just to say, if you tell people that you want to make your platform, your ministry, your outreach, you know, whatever it is that you are going for, if you tell people that you're making your platform to influence a group of people that they don't perceive that you could possibly be in touch with, you're going to get ridiculed for that as well. So you really can't win. You can only really just do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Do what's in your heart to do. If you try to say you're out here to influence people that they don't perceive that you can influence, you're going to get ridiculed for that. If you try to say, hey, I'm out here for my people, you know, the people like me, the people that are plus size women, super obese men and women. I'm out here for the black woman. I'm black. Why wouldn't I be out here for the black woman? I mean, I'm going to have situations that are going to be unique to my skin and my culture. It is just the truth, Ruth. I mean, come on. You're going to have situations that are unique to who you are and your culture. Black people don't tan. We don't go to tanning booths, tanning beds. If you're looking at a white lady's channel, she's probably at some point going to tell you about some tans, some tanning, some SPF, the sunscreen that she likes to use. She's might start talking to you about her shampoo, her skin regimen, her volumizing that she has to do with her hair. I mean, we're different. We're different. I might start talking to you about my braids, about my natural hair care routine. You know, these are things that are unique to the people group that you happen to come from. And everything doesn't apply to everybody. That doesn't mean that we all can't look, that we all can't enjoy, that we all can't get knowledge and information about somebody else's particular culture. I think it's great for that, but I think it is ridiculous to not be able to say that your content is demographically more well suited for who you are, because this is who you are. And as I said before, if you get out here and you try to even think about implying that you're demographically trying to just appeal to everybody, you're not going to appeal to anybody. And that's facts. That's just the truth. Any good business-minded business planner, one of the first things that people will ask you when you're talking to them about business and products and promotion, advertising, is who's your demographic? Who are you trying to sell this product to? Who wants this? You know, who needs to hear this? Who wants to buy this book? Who wants to hear from you? Who are you trying to target? That's always going to be. And it's the silly part is if you try to make something for everybody. You'll never reach anybody like that. And I guess the last thing would just be, you know, what I said before, or related to what I said before. When you have a reach, you have an audience that you set out to reach. And if you have reached that audience, and if you also appeal to other people, what a blessing. You know, that's just a blessing. It's huge that, you know, you set out to bless and to give something to people who had no representation. And you're probably blessing and giving to far, far, far more wide-reaching of an audience than just that. And that's great. That's fine. That's a blessing. But by the same token, you never want to let people make you believe that you should take that back. No, because this is still who you are. And the people that you set out to be a blessing to, because there's no one talking to them and deliberately trying to reach them, they still, you know, need you. They still need you. You know, I don't know that I'm in your audience that you set out to reach. I don't know that I am, because you know, I'm kind of like middle of the road. I'm not I'm going to say all of my life I've always been plus size, but I've always been on the smaller end of the plus size. Most of my life I've been 2X, and at the beginning of the video I talked about cardiac rehab. Well, in 2020 I had a heart issue to present, and you know, I want to live, so I got busy changing my eating and, you know, getting started with exercise as soon as I could. And so now I wear some things that are large and extra large. So I'm pretty much like out of the 1X woman, the 1W or whatever. And if I buy something like a regular size clothing, it's pretty much going to be extra large at this point. I had lost down to where everything I bought was just a regular large. But now it's more of a struggle to, I gotta like, I've gained a little bit of the weight back, so I'm now like kind of like a straight extra large or a straight 14. Um, and like if I'm gonna buy juniors, it's like a size 15 or whatever. I'm tall. I'm about 5'10", so my weight has always been pretty well distributed, but I've still usually been anywhere from an 18 to a 22 my whole adult life. So I've been plus size. I've been close to 300 pounds before. The highest weight that I ever saw on my scale was 292. And I would say only because in my childhood I was so traumatized, always, every day, all the time, by people in my family. I maybe little kids at school, said something about my weight or whatever, but I was far more traumatized within my own family by my own aunts, uncles, cousins, and my mother, who just lovingly tried to help me lose weight all the time. But she was loving about it, and she was helpful about it. But my aunts, uncles, and cousins, they gave me hell. And when I look back, I wasn't even that big. It's kind of like another thing that Joy said one day. Like, she looked at a picture of herself from high school or junior high, and she was like, wow, I looked good. And I look back at pictures like that, like, wow, I wasn't even that big. But I came from a family full of like people who were like really shapely, sexy, and or thin, or later on they might have started to get beer bellies or whatever, but they were still not fat, people. Everybody was small and fit looking, and when we were all kids, all my cousins were like skinny with the big head, and I was the only one with a full body, so I was, big and fat to them. So no matter how big I've ever presented, I've always felt really, really fat. And that's just what it is. I'm not dark skinned, but I'm certainly not one of the lightest skinned people that you've ever seen. I mean, most people would look at me and just say, oh yeah, she's light, but there's people that are far lighter than me. I'm not mixed. Everybody all of my families are black. I don't have, the tightest of curl pattern in my hair, but my hair is not soft and smooth and curly. This is extension crochet, to be exact. And most of my life I wore relaxers. When the what do you call it, the natural hair movement got strong, I decided to try to see what I would look like with natural hair, because my mother, like, she didn't play that from very small. I either had a press, when curls, do y'all remember curls? I'm dating myself, but yeah, I had a curl when curls came out, got away from the straightening comb, and then when relaxers came out, I think curls were before relaxers. But yeah, when relaxers came out, I got a relaxer, and I was a relaxer girl for, so many years, and then eventually I decided to try to go natural. I went natural, and I was like, oh, okay, I can do this, but my hair is not real thick, so it reverts back real easily once flat ironed and all that jazz. So I usually just keep braids or crochet or sew in, mostly just for convenience, and so that I can, look nice and go real quick, rather than having to do so much to get a hairstyle going. But yeah, so I don't know if I really fit into the demographic or not. I feel like I love the content, and that's really all that I know. One thing that I really love about Joy, your channel, Joy, like I said, if you ever see this, or to whoever might see it, the channel that I'm referring to is Joy Amor, Amor, I think. And one thing that I really love about her channel is that, she buys her cute clothes. She tries them on for us. She lets us see how she likes it, or if it fits, if it doesn't fit her, whatever. She lets us see the outfits, and she and her fiance, they go out, they go different places, they do different things. She puts her whole outfits together. She looks amazing. And she does her hair really cute, different, hair wear, if you will. Yeah, she'll do her battery is going down. She'll do her different wigs, different hair looks, different her makeup. She'll talk to us made up, not made up, whatever. And I enjoy her platform. I enjoy her platform. And even we're not 100% alike. I know, like a lot of people would consider my arm to be, not that big of a deal, but I feel like, let's see, for me, my arms are too big, and so I relate to her when she talks about the, struggles with her arms. I got they're still pretty fat, but they're hanging too because of the weight that I lost. Which, who cares? I don't care about that, neither here nor there, but it's really just the fattiness of my arm that, I still want to come down a lot. But I relate to her, not because my arm looks like hers, but just because I know she has, problematic arms, and I feel like I have problematic arms. Are they the same size? Do they look the same? No, but it's like it's the same struggle. And so, like I said, are we twins or anything? No, we're not. But I still really like her. I still really like her content. I don't feel offended by the fact that, she says who she represents, or not represents, but, who she had in mind demographic wise as she makes her content. Because how can you do anything without coming from your own perspective? I guess if there's anything that I want to just wrap this up by saying, is that when we do things, you have to come from your own perspective, because you don't know any other perspective to come from. You are you. You've had your upbringing and your unique experiences. You've learned what you've learned along the way. You look like how you look. You are how you are. And the only thing that you can speak to is what you've gone through, what you've learned, who you are, and what you know about you, and what you know about life according to your own values, your own things that you've learned, your own things that you know, and who you are. That's all that you can speak to. I can't speak to, there's a Hispanic family that lives across the street from me. I can't speak to being a Hispanic, man and woman couple. I don't know anything about that. And there are differences. Her family, I don't know much about them, but I do know her family. The lady of the house over there, the wife, I know that her family has a tortilla factory, because we met when we first met, and she told me, if you ever need tortillas, we have tortillas all the time. And I don't know anybody that has a tortilla factory except for her. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about their unique dynamic culturally as far as being a Hispanic family. And if I tried to come online and say that I'm coming from the perspective, my demographic is going to be Hispanic families, and the Hispanic woman and her struggles, and the fit, in shape Hispanic woman, and how we exercise to keep our figures. And people would think you would be crazy. People would think you were crazy, and you actually would be, because you don't know anything about that. And it's kind of like a pet peeve of mine. I was so annoyed, but I did have to think about when my aunt said to me and kind of made fun of the fact that I thought I was going to minister to people that she feels like, you don't know anything about those people. You don't know anything about being homeless. You don't know anything about being a prostitute. You don't know anything about drug addiction. You don't know anything about that. What are you talking about? You want to go speak to them. They're going to laugh at you. They're not. I did actually have to, humble myself a little bit and understand that, okay, even though I may want to help in this area, I may have to frame it a little bit different. Because if I just go in guns blazing thinking, I'm going to talk to them and they're going to, hear what I have to say, and I'm going to tell them, how I was, raised or whatever, and, my mother struggled with addiction while I was growing up and all that. I mean, that might be just a good little story time for them. But to actually be able to help them and get in the trenches with them, maybe I don't really understand enough to be able to, within their culture, within their kind of ecosystem of how they've been living, and what would really speak to them from the prospect of a someone who had really been in their shoes. I was in my shoes. Now, I might be able to minister to their children, but I might not be able to minister to them in a way that they need someone to minister to them. And I did think about that, and I still do think about it. It's still kind of, I feel like it's on my heart for me to do it in a way, but I would only be able to reach who I could reach. And maybe some people would, hear my heart and still be able to receive from my message, just like this platform, and how people hear her heart and not just go, well, I'm not black, or I'm not, obese, and, so let me turn the channel. People, hopefully would still be able to understand where I'm coming from and get something out of my message. Maybe they would, maybe some would, maybe some wouldn't, but you can only set out to do what you feel you can do from your perspective. And if you end up doing more than that, then you have done a magnificent job. You are blessed and highly favored. and you are to be congratulated and patted on the back because you've done much more than what was expected. And I personally feel like, and I think you would, by your numbers and by your support, that you are doing it the right way. You are absolutely doing it the right way. Anything else is going to seem disingenuous and ridiculous and crazy if you get out there trying to reach people that it seems that you have nothing in common with. But I think when you try to reach people that you have something in common with, and when your reach can go even further than that, then that's just, I believe, God's way of saying that, yes, you're doing the right thing. Yes, you're going in the right direction. Yes, of course, you're a human being. So of course, your personality and your reach and your message is for much, much more than what you set out for it to be. But in a sense, that's the blessing that is on you that gives you a further reach than what you could imagine. And I think that's the job of the blessing, is to make more. Kind of like when I usually take stuff back to church, but kind of like the little boy came and he presented his little fish, his little portion of fish and his little loaves, and he said, well, here, this is all I have. And then they got it and they took it to Jesus, and Jesus blessed it and broke it, and it was enough for 5,000 people. That's a miracle. So Joy, I just want to say, you took your heart and you put it out here to give what you had to give. And I would say that God got involved. He blessed what you took and handed out to give to who you thought you were giving it to, but he blessed it. And when you put it out here, it breaks and it gives to so many more people than what you could have ever imagined. It reaches far and it reaches wide. And I want to tell you that you have personally, even though we don't know each other, from Adam and Eve, but you have personally blessed me to be able to buy clothes that I normally wouldn't have bought, to be able to wear them and feel good and feel comfortable, in my clothes and in my outfit choices and going to the places that I've been to, and just breathe a sigh of relief that I'm not trying to please everybody all the time. And if I like what I have going, and I have decided I am decidedly good enough, just like I am. I have decided, thank God, finally, I've decided to let myself be good enough and not constantly criticize and critique every little thing about myself. I've just decided, girl, you are good enough just like this. Get out, live your life, do your thing. You are blessed with today. And the Lord knows that it's been some days when I didn't know, if I would be blessed with the day. But you are blessed with the today, and be thankful and live and know within yourself that you are good enough. Approve of yourself and get out and live your life. And you have personally helped me get to that point. And so I am personally very, very, very appreciative of you. And so continue to do whatever you want to do when people ask you the questions that they ask you. But I just really wanted to get on here and give you my wordy reaction because that's what I do. I used to be just such a comment warrior, and I just decided, what, I have too much to say just to make comments. So I'll be able to say whatever I want to say if I just put it in a video. So now I've stretched this video out 47 minutes. I'm gonna have to cut it down, but I'm gonna be diligent to upload it, and hopefully you'll see it. And if not, then hopefully somebody sees it that it blesses. And so, all right, bye.